You're listening to Inspirado Projecto, perhaps on Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podyssey, Blueberry, iHeart, and any slew of many other podcast directories and apps. Thank you so much for listening. This episode features a lot of revelations, a lot of ideas, a lot of epiphanies, synchronicities, during my trip over the 4th of July weekend when Yachtly Crew was out there at the Desert Diamond. So here we are hanging out with Dori. And also I'd like to say that thank you to everyone who called in on the Inspirado Projecto hotline. Thank you so much Thank you so much to John Garside from Forgotten Tales. Thank you to Clay. Thank you to Man Behind the Machine. And by the way, Man Behind the Machine, this is my answer to your question. I would like to hear LucasArts soundtrack video game music. That's my answer. That's my answer. Stay tuned. You got scared of what?
But it was too powerful for me. It was just too powerful for me. I had to check with reality. I hadn't kept checking with reality. I couldn't give into it.
When did you meet the guy that you shook hands with?
When did I meet him? What do you mean?
What year or whatever? Like at what point?
Because Dori was just born.
And what was the circumstance? Where were you at?
I was in my bar. I had a bar.
You were a bartender?
Bartending, yeah. But it was my own
And
place.
he said, Rebecca, it's been a long time.
Yeah. And then he touched me and the hands came together. It was like electricity going.
Did you suddenly get, like they say, your life flashes before you? Did you suddenly get images?
It was like the electricity went right through my whole body. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Oh my gosh! So you had electricity going through you.
Yeah.
And then did you suddenly start remembering those?
No, I didn't have to remember.
Those memories?
It's alive. It's always been alive in my mind. I've always thought about it and why
and then, so when he shook.
And he just confirmed that it was real.
So confirmed it.
That it was
so
real.
that was not the first time you had felt that feeling.
I knew this had happened in my life.
How
I knew this had happened.
At what point did you at first come to that idea that it happened?
That idea?
At what point?
It was just part of my life.
Ever since you were born?
I knew it was part of my life, yeah. But when I became aware of things, that's about the time, I would say.
Well, what were the first images?
My stargazing days and, thinking about other things and thinking that there's more to life and, that kind of a realization in your life,
Yeah.
Probably like 12, 13.
Yeah. Oh, 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So and then how old were you, do you think? Okay, so when you were 12 or 13 and you started thinking about that woman, Rebecca.
Yeah, no, I knew she was very, very clear in my mind. There was never a question about Rebecca.
How much do you know about that woman? In addition to her getting stoned, do you know much about her life?
Yeah, apparently I did not follow the laws of the land. Because when you commit adultery, you get stoned. It's part of it. And I never understood it because I never was that kind of person in my mind. So that always bothered me about it. Because that was not me, so I couldn't understand. So it must have been circumstances that led to it, unfortunate circumstances that led to my death.
So as early as 13, you would have images of you being a woman who was stoned to death and for adultery?
Yeah.
Did you have anyone else to talk to these things about?
That to your priest.
Did you? So was it tricky for you?
Mention that to your prince.
Yeah, I imagine. It must have been crazy.
No, you couldn't. I had nobody to talk to. Nobody.
So
there
you
was
held
nobody to talk to.
So you held that sort of
Yeah.
that secret in for a long time until you met that man
Yeah.
while you're bartending, and he goes, "Rebecca, it's been a long time."
Yeah.
And he shakes your hand, and all of a sudden it reconfirmed everything you had always known since you were 13.
I almost knew the minute I laid my eyes on him. I almost.
How did you feel you were related to him?
Lover.
Was he the one that Rebecca had committed adultery with?
I don't know.
In their past life?
I don't know. I never went into the details. It was too overpowering for me. Let me reaffirm that one more time. The whole thing was too overpowering for somebody German like me that had to stay straight. I had to fight it right from the beginning. I could not give in to that. If you understand Germans at all, you cannot give in to something like that. You have to fight that. That is not real.
Why wouldn't Germans agree in that kind of thing? Certainly
It's
there's
just the way I
folklore.
was raised. It's just the way I was raised. It's just something about it you don't
think about it or talk about it.
We're raised very strict, very realistic,
Right.
Everything makes sense. Everything has a mathematical answer to it.
Yeah.
Do you know
nothing supernatural.
No dreaming above and beyond this doesn't. And that's all I want to talk about.
Well, it's fascinating to me because I read books about this kind of stuff, so I've never really met.
But I can't give into it even right now. I can't.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Can't do it.
It's so fascinating to me. Thank you for even telling me that little bit. That's
it's
such a gift to me.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, there are things. I've always been. I've never in my life have ever had anybody. There was nobody ever to talk about those kind of things. Maybe a professor here and there. And I used to hang around a lot of professors when I was a very young age. Me and professors always, got along. I learned how to set my first rocket off.
You learned how to set off a rocket?
Yeah, it was one of the.
You learned how to mix the proper chemicals and everything to shoot it off?
It was one of the professors.
Incredible.
Yeah. Like I say, I always hung around the professors, and they were always fascinated by me because I was always so willing to learn. So.
Yeah, those who love to learn.
So those are the only people that I could, and then people found that strange when they would see Ingrid and the professor. It's like, you put a picture in your mind, little girl, old guy,
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. It's crazy, for you to have such an old soul, so to speak.
I see like the little girl and the old guy, like on the picture, the cover of her book. You know what I mean? I can see it now. And then,
So you think it might be a strange view for the outside world to see that a young girl is speaking so intelligently with such an older gentleman?
Yeah. Yeah, all my life I was sitting at round table. I did round table when I was about 11, and that was because of a connection. You know what round table is, right? Political round table?
Not really.
Yeah, well, round tables are around the world. We have it now. Channel 15 has it. Round table,
when I think of a round table, I think of people brainstorming about ideas and imagination. I don't know what that kind of round table is.
Round table, very realistically political. It's very political.
Oh, I gotcha.
And it's usually on Sundays. Around the world, on Sundays, that's when the reflections come in on what's happening in the
So you were a part of that stuff?
politics of the world. It was very political, raised, yeah.
How old were you at that time?
About 10, 11.
And you were at this round table thing?
Yeah, I was invited because of a connection. I had a connection. It was what do you call it? On the other side, we were east and west. What is the word I'm thinking? Can't think of the word right now. Communist.
Oh, communist.
So I knew the Jewish man, a German journalist, a Jewish German journalist, that my mom took care of his mother, and so the connection was there, and I was interested in what he was doing, of course, and he was very interested because at such a young age I was so interested in it, so that was always a connection that I had with people, and so I was invited to the round table.
That's incredible. I love that they
occasions.
respected your intelligence in that fashion, you know? What a great, that's exciting.
Yeah.
They viewed your
Well, they do
imagination.
It here now, finally, they do it here now. Finally, you recognize your children that are gifted. You know, they're recognized around a lot more than they ever have now these days, I think. But then you have to pay attention to it. You know, there's some pretty smart kids around. There's some very smart kids around.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was because of the connection that I had the invite. So.
It's cool.
So I was always around those kind of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kept surrounding myself.
That's great brain food.
Yeah.
That's the best brain food. People who are thinkers, who aren't just waddling in, you know,
Until the
the
day
mud.
came where I fucked it all up and said, that's it, I'm done now. I'm done being smart, it's not paying off for me.
Why did you make that choice?
I had to look at where the money comes in, you know, what
Why
job to take.
Why didn't you stop valuing your intelligence?
I could not keep on going to school and afford it.
Especially in this day and age, there's no excuse. You know, there's lots of education out there. You can go to YouTube, you can see all kinds of cool
It
stuff.
was not this day and age.
Oh my God, anybody can learn anything. My dad's learning guitar on YouTube right
It was
now.
not this day and age. You're not hearing me.
Oh, right, no, right. So if anyone had any reservations about that, all those excuses can be gone right now.
Yeah, now is a different time.
Yeah, anybody
Not
can.
when I was young, it
Right,
was not.
I see what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah. So back then,
And
you
this
were
was
like,
before your phone and before your connections and before your everything.
yeah. Back then, there wasn't that luxury. Yeah, I know what you mean.
No,
So you felt that your intelligence just wasn't valuable.
no, I had to pursue a life that paid money. I'd have money coming in. And wildness took over.
So no one told you that intelligence was valuable?
Yeah, that was all there, of course, but not for the moment, Kurt. It was not there for the moment. You know what I'm saying? It did not pay
Oh,
for the moment.
You cracked your head into this cabinet? Oh my God!
It's not the first time. You cracked your head. Yeah, personally.
I just imagine an 80s film where this guy, like, okay, maybe there's some kind of like strange party. Maybe it's a horror film. I don't know what. But something happens. Maybe it's kind of like an Animal House kind of thing. I don't know yet. But this dude who's only 17, he's sort of kidnapped by several older women. I'm not going to say how much older, but just older. They could be any ages. I don't care. These older women, but they're almost like suicide girls. And ranging in all ages. And they're threatening to, you know, they're like, they want to have sex with him. And he's like, look, can you please just respect that I don't want to get any of us in trouble until I officially turn 18 at 12 o'clock tonight. So maybe this crazy party's happening. Heck, maybe this is something that happens during the Saturday Night Fever movie that I'm putting together with Lawrence. Forget I said that. So, these women, who knows whether they're zombies or vampires or mermaids, sirens, who knows? They captured this guy, and they are willing to honor his request. They said, look, if you don't have sex with us by this time, per your agreement, he's like, trust me, I want to. He's like, I want so bad, you know. In fact, heck, I want to record it. Heck, maybe he wants to record it. He goes, trust me, I want to record it, but I want to do it legally so none of us get in trouble. I want to make sure I'm 18. And it all happens to fall on his birthday, and bam. Maybe it's the harem of some, like, strange vampire king or like a werewolf king. Maybe they're going to turn into werewolves. Whoa. Wouldn't that be crazy if, oh my God, wouldn't that be crazy? As if at 12 o'clock on that full moon, the ladies turn into werewolves? But maybe they forget or something. I don't know. And then it's like his birthday. You think this big crazy thing's gonna happen, but then they turn into werewolves, and you're wondering, what's gonna happen now? What next? That might be fun. So those are some ideas. My advice to comedians: make as many jokes as possible that force the audience to come up with the definition for what the joke actually means. So come up with as many jokes as possible that leave questions in their minds. So if they're choosing to make it dirty, that's up to them. You're giving them the invitation to choose exactly what choice they want. So if they want to make it a dirty joke, that's their choice. If they want to take it exactly for what that is, like for instance,
always choose dirty.
Anchor, I hardly know her. So someone could say, oh gosh, that's so dirty. Well, what does that really mean? Ank her? Let's investigate what that really means. So it's in the hands of the audience. You're getting younger all the time. Oh, you're getting younger all the time. Younger, younger, younger. So let's imagine some of the successful laugh makers. Huh? What's your epiphany? I'll record it. I'm going to record your epiphany. Hi there, little puppy. You're so cute. I'm your epiphany.
But people always, including my mom, would always tell me happy birthday on the 7th. And my birthday's on the 8th. And my favorite number, I was born 4 minutes after midnight. So people always think that
4 is your favorite number.
12:04 after midnight would be a.m.
Yes.
12:04 a.m.
Yeah, right. That started
so 4 minutes made it the 8th. That's it. Maybe the number 4 goes in there.
And 8 is infinity.
It's 12.
It's my favorite number.
And 4, 1, 3, 8. 12:04.
That's good.
I'll take it. I'll put that in my back pocket.
Do it.
I will.
12:04, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's funny. July 7th, you're getting a lot of wishes from people.
Yeah. My mom, up until like a year ago, always called me on the 7th. And I would just pick it up and listen to the singing.
And 10 is the number of completion.
Thank you very, very much for the early song. Because it's actually tomorrow.
How many belated wishes do you get per capita?
Well, I don't know.
How many belated birthday wishes per capita does Arizona get?
I don't get much.
I want to figure out the demographics and the statistics and the probabilities. What are the probabilities that you're going to hear?
Is very probable.
What's the probability that you're going to hear a birthday wish on the 7th rather than on the 8th or after? Better probability before the 8th?
From this one in there, today, 99.9%.
Yeah.
Well, but it changed last year, so we shall see.
Damn.
Always shall see.
Maybe she started going into labor at this point. Maybe she tried to output you all day.
It was daytime, and she was smoking a joint. Because my sister took like 12 hours, and so when she started going in labor with me, she thought she had time.
So she felt she had time?
Yeah, because it was 12 hours with my sister, so she thought she had time. So she changed into her bikini, went out back and laid by the pool and smoked a joint, and then realized it was happening much sooner.
It's probably what she remembers, the point when it started.
And the neighbor had to drive her because, it was time right away. There was no 12 hours. It was very fast. He's just smoking a joint.
Our friend had a child in a car, and a cop delivered it. Cop was a midwife. He did a terrific job, apparently.
I don't like cops. Anytime you say the word cop, I just think of fuck the police. Fuck the police.
Princess, do you see your friend out there?
I bet you she sees Dash. Is there a kitty?
Hello, little puppy.
I bet you there's a white cat out there. An overly friendly white cat.
I think the key to her barking is trying to figure out how to put ourselves in her shoes with those things.
She's in a crazy state all the time.
Well, we didn't expect that she would all... it's so funny. Once I picked her up and skated around, she became calmer on the skates.
She did.
Which was an unexpected thing.
First she looked worried, and the second time she actually had a little smile.
So I'm wondering
so do we need to do what she does?
I'm trying to figure out with Uno, how do we break that spell?
That didn't happen until after Norton passed. She never did it.
So roller skating, we had to actually pick her up.
Changed.
Bam, broke the spell, because then she could see what that's like from our perspective. Uno, what do? Do we hold her in our arms while we...
Give her the whole deck?
Give her the whole deck.
Give her the deck.
What are your thoughts?
That's what she thinks. Princesa.
Come here, little poppy. Hi. What are your thoughts about that roller skating expedition? Excursion expedition. Excursion expedition. Oh, you're so cute. Oh my god. Okay, so how do we break the spell of Uno? It's such a good game, Princess. Princess, you've got to allow for that one to exist. Please, what can we do? Give us a clue. We're going to play Uno. Huh?
Yahtzee.
How does she feel about Yahtzee?
It's fine.
Okay, let's play Yahtzee
This is dice.
How do we combine Yahtzee with Uno? Those were two of my favorites. How do we combine it? At what point in Yahtzee, maybe when you do Yahtzee, then you start playing Uno? If you hit a Yahtzee?
Like if you get a double Yahtzee in one game.
Oh, that's good.
So
then you start playing Uno.
Someone hits a second Yahtzee in one round, then you move on to Uno. And they automatically start with a draw 4 card in their hand. As a triple Yahtzee.
I love it.
Draw 4. Yeah. Draw 4 card.
4. How cool is that? Uno is filled with the 4, the number 4.
The Uno means 1.
And 4 plus 1 is synchronicity.
What if the game was you had to have 2 cards? Dos.
We could make the card game called Dos.
So we get down to 2 cards.
Or Cuatro. Since it's
down
like
to 4 cards. Cuatro.
Let's make Cuatro. Once you're down to 4 cards, you win.
You gotta call it. You still gotta play
Cuatro.
Cuatro. Marco.
Will we utilize similar tactics as Uno? Like colors? Numbers?
I can hardly see them after a while. Green and blue.
What about
like
nature
whatever.
items? What about elements? Elements and nature items.
Okay, we'll have earth and sky.
Okay, so any sky cards can work together. Any, et cetera, down the line. Okay, now do we utilize colors? Do we utilize...
We need to blend them. So instead of like blue, what colors are there? Red?
Okay,
yellow.
each element. I guess we'll have green, brown...
What's red and yellow mixed together make?
Orange.
Okay, so orange
Okay, so
one.
we'll only do secondary colors.
And then the
purple.
other one is blue.
Orange, purple.
And in Yahtzee's blue and green. What does blue and green make?
Well, green comes from blue and yellow. So green's the secondary.
So we've got orange and green.
Orange, green, purple. And
11 T.
that's it. I think those are the secondaries. Is that it?
11 T.
Because there's only 3 primaries. Green. Yellow and red is orange. Okay, yellow and blue is green. Yellow and red is orange. Blue and green. Oh, what's blue and green?
Purple?
I mean, no, I'm sorry. Oh, blue and yellow is green. Okay, blue and red is purple. Okay, then red and blue is purple, and then red and yellow is green. Okay, so we got those bases covered. So, purple, yeah, orange, green.
How are them bullets going?
I like them.
Are they from? Where are they from?
Norway.
What's the name of them? They're from Norway.
The Chicago Bullets.
Chicago Bullets from Norway.
Yeah. The Chicago Bullets.
Do you feel like you're
From Czechoslovakia.
traveling like a bullet?
Yeah. I mean, look at it. It's like yin and yang. And plus you got pink in there, which you're not used to having.
It's my favorite.
I love that there's white in the tip.
It's my favorite.
So it's great. There's a connection here. And then here, the what outlines it is black. So it's so cool. They're connected. They're connected, young one.
Who's gonna get up first?
What are these called? Miyagi's?
Legis.
Tortoise legs. You say tortoise, I say tortoise, tortoise, tortoise. Let's time travel.
Let's not
What does this say?
call the whole thing up. Oh, well, these are like roller derby.
What's that called?
But I don't know. What does it say?
Roller.
Mystic.
Roll. So the wheels say roller derby.
What does this say? I never knew that.
USA. My sill. Are those L's? I almost feel like it's Arabian. MYSIIIF. Mischief.
Mystique.
Mystique.
Mystery.
Is that an L or a T at the
I
bottom?
have no idea. I never even knew that was on there.
This roller skate is a mystery. This roller skate's a mystery. This roller derby's a mystery.
See how their ears have grooves except for the
Oh yeah, the groove is right there in the heart.
This is set for knocking people down.
This is for the rink. That's for the derby.
This way.
Bullet.
They say.
So they say.
They
The infamous
had told me
they.
that once.
Chicago. The Chicago Bullet. It says right there on the packaging. Alley-oop. She's got the TARDIS on her legs. She's got the TARDIS. And don't you forget it. It's on her legs. Oh, yeah. We're now walking through the grass. The glass. We're now walking through the glass. Oh. Roller skates. Chicago Bullets. Chicago Bullets. Is that your drink or mine?
Yours is nice and cold outside. Mine is like Arizona heat.
Hey everybody, gather around. Want to hear the Inspirado Hotline number? Yeah! Alright, goes a little bit like this. 561-203-9179er 561-203-9179er Say, I got an idea. How about you try it? Sounds great! Okay, here we go. 5, 6, 1, 2, 0, 3, 9, 1, 7, 9. That sounds great. 5, 6, 1, 2, 0, 3, 9, 1, 7, 9. That sounds awesome. 5, 6, 1, 2, 0, 3, 9, 1, 7, 9.
What kind of music would you like to hear in airports? We're talking about music for airports.
Thank you so much for that message. Yeah, I left that a while ago. I think I made that podcast a while ago. I'm not making any more podcasts anymore. I did 19 episodes, and I think I'll leave it at that because I've done so much social media over the last few months. But it's thank you so much for calling. It was so lovely to receive that notification. Yeah, I'm gonna try, but I'm gonna use it probably. I think I'm more suited to Instagram stories than podcasting, just because it's more creative for me and I enjoy it a little bit more. I used to like the old Anchor where you could actually have conversations, but that doesn't exist anymore. And yeah, I loved you're on my first podcast. I don't know if you know that. It was absolutely hilarious, the message that you left, and really inspiring. It's hilarious. Yeah, so...
Hey, Chad here from the Concave Hardcore Skating Podcast. I just want to thank you again for making that theme song for us. We'll definitely be using that on a future episode. I really appreciate it. It was so cool of you. Oh, hey, dude, who are you? You can't just walk in here and grip on my junk, dude. Hey, it's okay. I'm with the TSA. Yeah, man. Don't sweat it, buddy. I'm with the TSA. You're with the TSA? Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm with the TSA. Don't sweat it, man. Let's do this thing. Yeah. Whoa. Sorry, dude. I didn't know it was official business. Go for it. All right, man. That's the way to be. Yeah, TSA all the way. Yeah.
So you visited Studio 54? How long were you there in Studio 54?
How long was I there?
Well, like, okay, how long was it open?
I don't know. I don't really know. I don't remember. It was like, life went like took off.
Did you meet Andy Warhol?
Yeah.
You did?
And
You met Andy Warhol?
Yeah.
Was he a nice guy?
In New York, yeah.
Did you ever meet Lou Reed? Did you meet Lou Reed?
No.
Did you go to the factory?
No.
So you hung out at Studio 54?
No, I'm not exactly going to say I hung out there, but I went there.
That's amazing. It's incredible. I've heard so much about that place. Same thing as Chelsea Hotel. Those are two places I've heard a lot about.
Chelsea what?
Chelsea.
Chelsea Hotel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've heard about these places out there. You know, these are legendary locations.
Chelsea Hotel, yeah. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
where everybody that knew somebody slept.
Well, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people stayed at the Chelsea Hotel. Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan, a lot of folks that are just amazing, geniuses. Today is the 10th, July 10th. The time right now, 7:13 p.m. And I've been watching Quantum Leap here on this Cody channel. Just all Quantum Leap over and over again. I've been seeing some extraordinary shows, and there was a show where he actually leapt into his own younger self's body. This is such a rarity. It's always, just for those of you who know the show, like, it's just always other people that are out there. It's always someone else. And he's got to try to figure out the pieces to make it all fit together. Well, on this one, he realized that he leapt into his younger self's body, and the whole point was for him to win a particular basketball game. Well, he realized while he was there, he's like, oh my God, my brother's going to die in Vietnam. Maybe while I'm here, I can convince him to not go. Oh my God, my dad is going to die of a heart attack in a few years. Maybe I could get him to start eating healthy instead of smoking and, treating his body bad. Also, my sister is going to marry some abusive guy in the future. Maybe I can warn her about that so she doesn't end up marrying that guy. And so there are all these elements at play. And so his family thinks that basically he's crazy. They're like, no, he's crazy. He's getting weird. Like, what is he talking about? He's a time traveler. What? Because they keep asking him, how do you know this? How do you know this? And so he's telling them stuff. He's like, look, you're going to do this. This is going to happen. And please, just trust me. And nobody's trusting him. They're like, you're crazy. And it gets to this part where he's talking with his sister about the Beatles. And he says, oh, the Beatles break up. She goes, no. He goes, yeah, this is, in fact, they're going to break up. And she goes, oh, she said, no. She goes, so what happens with John? He's my favorite. And he's about to tell her that John gets assassinated. And that's when his buddy tells him, no, don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. So Sam starts playing on the guitar. He starts playing Imagine for the sister. He starts playing Imagine for her. And he goes, this is a song that John... Oh, she goes, what happens to John? And he's about to tell her, oh, he gets assassinated. But he goes, oh, he writes a beautiful song. And he starts playing Imagine for her. And, and she's like, oh, that's beautiful. And I thought, how interesting is that movie Yesterday came out, which is about the guy who plays Beatles songs in a world where the Beatles don't exist. So this is pretty neat. This was sort of an interesting version of that in a different way. Very cool. The image of people walking up a staircase that goes up into this bright, beautiful illumination, that would be fun for a Yachtly Crew album. Going off into the sky. We're playing the Beatles rock band right now, and there's an image of that. It's so powerful. Young people of America, awake from your slumber of indolence and hearken the call of the future. Do you realize you are rapidly becoming a doomed generation? Do you realize that the fate of the world and of generations to come rests on your shoulders? Do you realize that at any time you may be called on to protect your country and the freedom of the world from the creeping scourge of communism? How can you possibly laugh in the face of the disasters which face us all from all sides? Oh, ignorant youth, the world is not a joyous place. The time has come for you to dispense with the frivolous pleasures of childhood and get down to honest toil until you are 65. Then, and only then, can you relax and collect your social security and live happily until the time of your death. Hunter S. Thompson.
Put kitchen includes an oven, microwave, HOB, and a dishwasher. What's an HOB?
House of Blues. So basically there's an entire House of Blues installed within this.
Property also features
the bed and breakfast,
motorized sun awning, and barbecue facility.
Oh,
fully air conditioned, coin operated. It says it's fully air conditioned, and then parentheses, coin operated.
This house is coin operated.
And fans are provided at no extra charge. Am I seeing that? Am I supposed to put coins in to get some AC?
We promise we will not charge you per step you use while walking through that house. That is our guarantee.
I think we might need to stay at a hotel.
We'll not charge you to walk on the floor for the first 3 days. So I just had this idea of a guy who rents out his Airbnb or his bread and breakfast thing, and it's in his boat. And I love the idea of self-catering. It just kills me. Do you need self-catering materials? Call our delivery people. They own the delivery service, so it's funny. They'd be requiring you to order from them. It's interesting. Breakfast arrives hot every morning. Call us for delivery. Maybe on that Airbnb, to recall the idea before, maybe there's a secret room that he keeps locked, but someone one day, they just open it, and that's the room that has all those deadly insects in it. And once you know, that's the day that like a tsunami hits or something, or a earthquake happens, and there's some ripples going on in that while that tourist is staying in there. That could be interesting. It's like a race against time.
All of a sudden, penthouse, Mohala, number 9.
Meleha, number 9. We promise this is MED approved.
Okay.
This Malta house is MED approved.
The road.
So the earthquake comes in, knocks the creatures off the wall. Meanwhile, the ship is filling with water because it tipped. So it's like, what's going to happen first? What if he gets stung and then he's got to try to swim out underwater through the windows? And he just got stung by like 4 or 5 different world's deadliest creatures. Oof. What a crazy race against time that is. Because how do you even know what antidote to use for what? I guess the owner of the bed and breakfast would. But man, how many of those insects could survive in the water? You know, do any of them swim? It's terrifying. Getting bitten by that and then having to swim underwater. Hold your breath. Would they swim after you? What if it wasn't just limited to insects? Maybe on one side of it was insects, the other side it was like, I don't know, deadly baboon. So now you got to deal with a deadly baboon. Poisonous insects. Would you hope that the baboon would fight off the insects? Or would you... I would just hope that the baboon wouldn't want to fight me. They're like, just take whatever's in the fridge, thaw it out, slip it under the slot in the door on the left. Never mind the sounds you hear. Never mind the sounds you hear. Call us for special arrangements if you decide to stay longer than 6 days. Because things could get kind of mad. An idea for a movie or a short film or TV show or something called You've Been Unlocked. And people receive these emails and it just says, you've been unlocked. Put in your email here and, so you can get the benefits. And it's just so vague, and it doesn't really say what you've been unlocked for or what the promise of anything is. And it's just this weird, like, you've been unlocked, hurry up, and, you have 1 minute, and it's counting down. So it makes it feel like, oh, you better, it kind of turns you into that video game mindset kind of thing, where you got this time limit, and it's, counting down, and you have a certain mission that you got to accomplish before it ends, and you've been unlocked. And so maybe it leads them to a website where they're tricked into putting in their personal information, or I don't know what, but I imagine it is this ridiculous kind of like one of those internet kind of horror films. That out. Helicopter. The reason I point this out is because I was just looking on Instagram under this, I was scrolling through this. Social media, for all the things people complain about it for, what they're not revealing are all the brilliant things that come through social media. All the great finds, all the great detectives out there, and they all bring it to light. For instance, the reason why I brought that up was on this Instagram, let's see here. It shows a picture of two helicopters, one facing to the right and one facing to the left. And the one facing at the right has the same three-ringed design on it that the one beneath it facing to the left has. Now, the little picture on the top, so it's, imagine two pictures, they're split in half, but it's the same photo, so to speak. Same helicopter. So the top one says, The Walking Dead 9A Temporada. The one on the bottom says, Fear the Walking Dead 5A Temporada. And this person's quote was, I knew that I was not crazy, and it was the same, beginning to merge more. So I think what they're saying here is that a helicopter that was seen in The Walking Dead is the same helicopter that appears in Fear the Walking Dead, where now the worlds are starting to match up. You're starting to see the Venn diagram. And before you know it, there will be yet another Walking Dead. A post-apocalyptic Walking Dead. I will not tell you how I know this. You will see. It's a post-apocalyptic Walking Dead. So, keep your eyeballs open for you. For that, I have not seen The Walking Dead. However, I can imagine this being a very miraculous find indeed. So cheers to all of you who love watching The Walking Dead and discovering clues, and thank you, those of you who like finding those and sharing them with the rest of us. Because even if there's a particular, whether it's about comic books, whether it's about your favorite TV show, whether it's about an interesting synchronicity that you see, like for instance, John Garside shared with me this amazing video all about how Back to the Future predicts 9/11. Back to the Future. Check it out. It's on Facebook. It's on Facebook video, but also it's on YouTube. I've seen it on YouTube before. So it's thanks to folks like this who are finding this really interesting. Heck, there's some stuff going on in the news. I'm not going to point in which direction, but I'm seeing things surface into the mainstream news that I think I told you guys. There's a very interesting thing out there. Starts with a Q, QANON. QANON. Hashtag QANON. If you look that up, it's very interesting. You'll find some very interesting things. So a lot of the stuff that's going on in the mainstream news right now was actually uncovered almost a year ago. So it's really interesting. So many interesting detectives out there finding stuff. There's a guy named Dr. Hawk, I believe that's his name, on Twitter. He is always finding amazing Twin Peaks references and matching them up side by side. Like what was it? There was one where they showed Coop. Okay, yeah. When he's walking out in season 3, Twin Peaks season 3, he comes out of the red room. You see the curtain behind him. He's in the forest. And the way that he's standing is exactly the same way that Coop is standing at the door when the tulpa is made, when the Dougie tulpa is made to go live with Janie E. and little guy. So interesting. So many interesting finds. There's a really cool one where they showed a side-by-side photo of young Bobby and modern-day Bobby and the way that they're sitting at the booth at the Double R Diner. Man, so intriguing, so intriguing. That's the best kind of art, I would say, the kind that leaves you questioning. It puts it in your hands. You are the one who has to, come up with an answer. But you're not required to come up with an answer. We only try to come up with the answers because we are curious. We want to see how it ties together. It's that wonderment. Is it that we don't want to have a movie lingering in our brains? Do we want to feel like the chapter has been closed? It's kind of interesting. And I think that all of this spawned from a synchronicity involving looking at helicopters. Oh my God, there we go. How beautiful is that? Whoa, okay, so I just realized. So this started, okay, so it started out with looking at the synchronicity of Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead. And as I'm looking at that synchronicity, bam, that's when we hear the helicopter. Beautiful. Beautiful. There's so many synchronicities that were happening. So many. Did I tell you one? I had to have. If I did, well, I'm going to tell you again. The outdoor air conditioning units at the Desert Diamond. I'm just blown away. The Desert Diamond outdoor air conditioning units. I didn't even know those things existed. We had this text message thread with Yachtly Crew, and David Bowie, he sweats. He sweats really easy. He gets hot really fast, and so they were going, hey, Dave, you're going to have a great time out there on the stage. It's going to be 106 degrees out there in Tucson. And I said, oh, don't worry. They said they'll have outdoor air conditioning units there. I made this up off the top of my head, not even knowing that these things, I made it up. I thought I was making it up off the top of my head. We get there, and what is blowing at the stage? 3 huge outdoor air conditioning units. You stood in front of this thing, I got to tell you, whoa, very nice and cool. So imagine an air conditioning attached to a huge fan, and the fan blows the cold air as it's manufactured. That's what was going on. And they're on the stage. They were shooting at the stage while we were playing. I mean, just amazing. Just amazing. I didn't have any intel about that. I didn't, it's so funny. No one in the group said, no one in the text, no one said in the text, like, wait, you talked to the people at Desert Diamond? No one said, wait, how do you know? And then no one said, oh, come on, that's preposterous, Kurt. Those things don't exist. And when we get there and we see the outdoor air conditioning units, it was equally, no one said anything about the fact that they were there. So now it makes me wonder if they were just completely dismissive on both aspects of it. Little hummingbird just landed. So now I'm wondering if they're completely dismissive on both aspects of it, in both the text message and in the reality of seeing the real life air conditioning unit, or they somehow trusted me that I had some kind of intel about an outdoor air conditioning unit. So interesting. So interesting. So interesting.
This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto. Got a light?